The circumstances which I am about to relate to my juvenile readers took place in the year 1647. By referring to the history of England at that date, they will find that King Charles I, against whom the Commons of England had rebelled, after a civil war of nearly 5 years, had been defeated, and was confined as a prisoner at Hampton Court. The Cavaliers, or the party who fought for King Charles, had all been dispersed, and the parliamentary army, under the command of Cromwell, were beginning to control the Commons. It was in the month of November in this year that King Charles, accompanied by Sir John Berkeley, Ashburnham, and Legge, made his escape from Hampton Court, and rode as fast as the horses could carry them towards that part of Hampshire which led to the New Forest. The king expected that his friends had provided a vessel in which he might escape to France, but in this he was disappointed. There was no vessel ready, and after riding for some time along the shore, he resolved to go to Titchfield, a seat belonging to the Earl of Southampton. After a long consultation with those who attended him, he yielded to their advice, which was to trust Colonel Hammond, who was governor of the Isle of Wight, for Parliament, who was supposed to be friendly to the king. Whatever might be the feelings of commiseration of Colonel Hammond towards a king so unfortunately situated, he was firm in his duties towards his employers, and the consequence was that King Charles found himself again a prisoner in Carisbrooke Castle. But now we must leave the king and retrace history to the commencement of the Civil War. A short distance from the town of Leamington, which is not far from Titchfield, where the king took shelter, but on the other side of the Southampton Water, and south of the New Forest, to which it adjoins, was a property called Arnwood, which belonged to a cavalier of the name of Beverley. It was at this time a property of considerable value, being very extensive, and a part ornamented with valuable timber, for it abutted on the New Forest, and might have been supposed to have been a continuation of it. Colonel Beverley had married into the family of the Villars, and the issue of his marriage was 2 sons and 2 daughters. But his zeal and sense of duty had induced him, at the commencement of the war, to leave his wife and family at Arnwood, and he was fated never to meet them again. The news of his death had such an effect upon Mrs. Beverley, already worn with anxiety on her husband's account, that a few months afterwards she followed him to an early tomb, leaving the 4 children under the charge of an elderly relative, till such time as the family of the Villars could protect them. But, as will appear by our history, this was not at that period possible. The life of the king and many other lives were in jeopardy, and the orphans remained at Arnwood, still under the care of their elderly relations, at the time that our history commences. The New Forest, my readers are perhaps aware, was first enclosed by William the Conqueror as a royal forest for his own amusement, for in those days most crowned heads were passionately fond of the chase. Since that time to the present day, it has continued as a royal domain. At the period of which we are writing, it had the establishment of verderers and keepers paid by the crown, amounting to some 40 or 50 men. Some few remained, their age not rendering their services of value, and among them was an old and attached servant of the Beverleys. Those who remained in the forest lived in cottages many miles asunder, and indemnified themselves for the non-payment of their salaries by killing the deer for sale and for their own subsistence. Kirsty, it's your friend, Kirsty, from Scotland, and you never write to her, do you, Kirsty? And she misses you really bad. Why won't you come back to Glasgow, Kirsty?